and you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
After an incredibly close race at Myrtle Beach last week, we come now to one of our first big major events of the season. It is 200 laps here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina for round number 5 of the Super Late Model AI Series. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. As always, my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso. Tony, a great battle, and the first time we've actually seen a clear duel between first and second this season. A fun night here at Wilkesboro, I'm sure, is going to bring us right back into that mood.
Absolutely, but I don't think anything's going to top the battle at the beach that we saw last week.
Yep.
But, Frank, I'm looking at these weather conditions. I'm a little bit terrified right now.
It is going to be a scorching hot day, and we will get to that a little bit later on. First, we'll take a look at the point standings as they sit, because they have changed quite a bit from what we saw after round 3 at Lanier. Walt Clough now holds the points lead, the biggest points lead of the season so far. It's 7 points. Tanner Reif falls down out of that points lead into second. Sean Woodside up 3 after getting his win, but the biggest mover was the man who finished in second last week at Myrtle Beach. Derek Krause up 11 spots up into the 15th position in the point standings.
It took the McAnally racing team a couple of races to get their feet under them in this series, but I think that we're going to see that entire team season turn around now, as Cole Moore is right there in the slugfest as well, and he's been making some moves. He's up 6, so both those drivers had a good week last week, and I think the momentum's on their side now.
And Cole Moore has had an incredible season. He's currently the fastest in the practice session, which has just under 2 minutes to go now. Moore has been incredibly quick over this season, but we remember the first 2 races of the season, questionable pit strategy, came in for a second pit stop that really put him back in the point standings. He's been up in the top 5 all season these last couple of weeks. The pit strategy's worked out for him. He's been able to have those good finishes and is now starting to climb back up the points.
Well, after the first 2 races, they fired the car chief who was making the poor fuel calculations, and they've got some experience on the box now for both those teams, working the numbers, making sure that they're right where they need to be. So I would expect the pit road mistakes to be done for McAnally Racing.
And now this is going to be the longest race of the season. As I mentioned, 200 laps. Only 2 more races this season will have 200 lap lap counts. That would be at Bristol towards, I believe, round number 12 of the season. And then the season finale at Five Flags. So this is one of those special races at a special racetrack that, as we found out a couple of weeks ago, is going to actually be getting a facelift. And who knows, maybe it could be kicking Texas off the NASCAR calendar the same way Texas did to it in '96.
Oh, we can only hope.
Absolutely.
Or at least claw one of the races back.
Absolutely, especially, and here's the thing with Texas. If you have to reconfigure the racetrack 5 times over the course of 20 years, you have a bad racetrack, and Texas has not been good for NASCAR racing.
It hasn't been good for any form of racing. I mean, take a look at the first time the IndyCars went there. Drivers were complaining of vertigo after 5 laps.
Yeah, it has been quite a rough stretch there. But as we finish the practice session here at Wilkesboro, Cole Moore 2/100ths of a second faster than Corey Heim. Parker Traves there, and Parker darn near got ran over out of that qualifying session.
I didn't know it was possible for a super late model to pull a wheelie.
Well, we learn something new every single time we come on this, Sam, apparently. Just
welcome to week 13.
Exactly. As waiting on qualifying to begin, here we go. Is qualifying now kicking off. Trevor Huddleston, as per usual, one of the first drivers out on track in that number 50. Again, this qualifying session will come and go very, very quickly here with all of these guys out on the racetrack at the same time. The only one who's not out on track right now is Parker Traves in the 60. As Huddleston appears to be the one who will set the benchmark time. He appears to be the furthest one along. And
Corey Heim's cranking one off.
Yep, Corey Heim purple the first half of the lap, and it is going to be Corey Heim, at least for the moment, up at the top. Faster again through the first half of the lap.
Heim's got that setup dialed right now. Wow.
Flyer for Heim. Huddleston goes second. Now make it Derek Griffith going second. Sean Woodside up to third. And Parker Traves, the last man to put down a qualifying time, coming through turns 1 and 2 now. Traves picking up the victory back at Lanier. And he will go from 27th up to 25th. So not a solid qualifying effort for that number 60. But for the first time this season, the 20 of Corey Heim will take the pole in what could be quite a breakout race for Corey Heim this week.
Absolutely. New chassis that was actually built in-house at Gibbs under that car tonight. So apparently they've got the teething pains out of it because that car is showing a lot of speed early.
Yep, absolutely, and quite a run for that Venturini Motorsports number 20. As we will now skip ahead to the actual race session, and we will take a look at the grid here for tonight's race once the session switches over, which it just did. Starting on pole will be Corey Heim at a time of 17.594. Derek Griffith just 1/100th of a second off of him in that Sam Hunt Racing number 12. Sean Woodside and Mark Wirtz will make up row 2 with John Moore and Trevor Huddleston in row 3. Carson Quapple and Dominic Lopez sit in row 4. Row 5 goes to Ty Majeski and Blaine Roca. Jake Drew and Walt Clough, the points leader coming into this race, will sit in row number 6. Row 7 goes to Tanner Reif and Jeremy Doss. Austin Herzog and Cole Moore make up row 8.
Row number 9 is going to give us Colby Howard and Tony Briedinger. Josh Berry and Wayne Stokes rolling off in row number 10. Row 11 sees Derek Krause and Sammy Smith. Gio Scelzi and Austin Maynard going to roll off in row number 12. Row 13 goes to Parker Traves and Andy Allen. And starting shotgun on the field, all by himself for the Calabrese Motorsports, 17 MA of Eddie McDonald.
So quite a starting lineup, and again, a sort of a shift from what we have seen, especially for the 27 of John Moore. He was the slowest car in the practice session, and now he'll be starting inside the top 5 in that 5th position. Also would love to see a good race out of guys like Carson Quapple and Ty Majeski. There they are, 7th and 9th. And just behind them, the 2 Sunrise Ford drivers. Both of those drivers have won a race this season already, and both of them have tasted the points lead at some point. So the 6 and the 9, you know those guys are going to be very, very tough to beat if they get into a position for it.
Yeah, absolutely. But getting back to the 27, you said that they were the slowest in the hot lap session. That team threw everything but the kitchen sink at that car in between warm-ups and qualifying. So brand new arms, brand new toe angles. They threw springs and shocks at it too, and hopefully they can keep the tires under that thing for 200 laps.
As we look throughout that number 27 here, we'll take a look at the weather conditions as you were talking about earlier, Tony. A hot racetrack. We saw it during the open during practice. Track temperature has come down 13 degrees, but still 75 degree ambient temperature. Would be a problem if it were 175. 120 degree track temperature. Again, when we went live, it was 133, so it has gone down, but still really hot as we pass the 2 o'clock hour here in North Wilkesboro.
And that temperature is going to go back up as cars start going around this track. They're going to put some heat back into the track from those Hoosiers, and it's going to get sketch, especially late into a green flag run. Some of these guys are going to be skating. It's going to be almost like driving on ice.
We still have a minute and a half to wait here before we get set and roll off here for this race. And with a season like this, it has been so hard and good. It has been so hard to pick who has a good opportunity of coming out on top. We just looking back through it here.
You're not going to know till the money stop.
Oh, exactly. And looking through here in the first 4 races of this season, the guy who has won the pole has not been the guy who has won the race. As a matter of fact, the guy who has led the most laps has only been the winner once, and that was at the season opener. This is the widest racetrack that we've gone to. It's one of the tracks with the biggest banking that we've gone to. It's still just under 3/4 of a mile. But Wilkesboro has put on incredible racing in its past, and tonight I'm sure will be no different.
This is one of those hallowed grounds for a racing fan. Um, there's so much history and so many names that have come through this facility on their way to NASCAR greatness. As a matter of fact, I dare say that everybody that's currently sitting in the NASCAR Hall of Fame has driven this track at least one time in their career.
Yep, and has had either a very, very good or a very, very bad experience at this racetrack. It's just a couple of seconds to go here before we start to roll off. Here we go. Just a moment, we should see that Porsche pace car start to roll off. You can hear the engines have fired, and we should be, yep, there we go. There goes the 12 of Griffith lighting the tires up.
Trying to get some heat into those skins so that when the green flag does fly, he can jump on it.
Now, one of the things that we have seen is the outside line has worked at racetracks that we have gone to already this season, and I'm sure racetracks that we will go to for the remainder of this season. Highline has a very good chance of working here with the banking that's around this place.
Absolutely is. The banking here, it was almost progressive banking before progressive banking was cool.
Yep. So as we work our second pace lap, Tony, it's one of our big four races this season. The first jewel in the crown will get placed here tonight at Wilkesboro. 200 laps. It's going to be one hell of a show.
Absolutely. As the field works its way down the back straightaway behind the Porsche pace car. Frank, say it with me. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, pop some popcorn because it's time to get it on at Holly Farms. Race fans, it's showtime!
We got the timing on it right, my goodness, as Corey Heim gets out to an early little bit of a lead, but with that low exit, it's Griffith who's going to be the one that takes off. Corey Heim very low on exit of 1 and 2.
Heim looks like he may have caught the apron in 1 and 2, and he caught it again in 3 and 4. It really stacked him up behind him as the 55 now making a good run on the top side, and here comes the 60.
Still a lot of side-by-side racing all throughout this field, as you would expect. John Moore stuck on the inside. Walt Clough in the 46 already working his way up. Jeremy Doss, a name we haven't really spoken about much this season. He's been running towards the back. He's got himself up towards the front on the outside line, and that inside line looks like it's stacking itself up quite a bit here in the early stages.
You can just carry so much more momentum on that top side. Just that second hash mark. You don't even really have to be up where the marbles are. Just that second hash mark, you can carry so much more momentum on corner exit that inside lane is not where you want to be tonight, Frank.
No, it's not looking like it, especially early, as we will jump on board. That's
three wide.
With, Sean Woodside. Yep, he's on the bottom of this 3 wide. That's Tony Brieniger on the way outside. John Moore. I'm sorry, yeah, that was John Moore in the 27. That's Cole Moore now behind the 45 of Woodside.
Good grief.
As just still, as you do, close quarters racing.
Still 3 wide. Oh, good grief.
Oh boy.
I believe that was everybody from up north. Yes, it is. That is Wayne Stokes in the 92 that just took it 3 wide and made it happen on the high side.
There he is, running in 12th. He's already up 8 positions from where he started in that number 92.
I love Easter eggs.
Yeah, it is quite fun. The top 2 have broken away. That is the 12 of Derek Griffith and the 55 of Mark Wirtz. They are about 3/4 of a second ahead of the 50 of Trevor Huddleston. And Dominic Lopez in the 24 up there. We haven't seen him up towards the front too much this season. Has a good run going so far as Eddie McDonald finds an early escape down to pit road.
Not sure exactly what's going on with the 17. It sounded like it was a full song when he pulled it in.
It did, and we'll try to
Oh,
see.
he's having overheating problems because they're playing with the tape on the grill.
You can see it going on and off. As we'll try to see what happened with him, because he was up there. He started to work his way back up, and then he just caught that curb, broke the left front.
Oh, wow.
And of course, it's always the opposite side of the camera we have in the wheel well.
Of course it is.
You gotta start putting the camera in the left wheel well now.
Now watch, they're going to start breaking right arm just as soon as we do that.
Just forget all the other onboard cameras. We're just gonna have one aimed at each wheel.
Sure.
Sean Woodside looks to the outside of John Moore in the 27, and Moore gets away free and clear. Moore down to 9th. Woodside down to 8th.
Now here's something we didn't expect. Take a look where Reif is running in the 9. All the way back in 25th. Derek Krause is mired back in 26th.
Yep, these guys have been running that extreme inside line. And then Tanner Reif right now, the lowest running car. And I want to point something out. And Tony, you talk to me all the time about having CDO.
Yes.
Derek Griffith running first is +1 from where he started. Mark Wirtz running in second, +2. Trevor Huddleston in third, +3. Dominic Lopez running in fourth, +4. Can you sense a pattern?
Yes.
This pattern goes all the way through to 7th. Jeremy Doss +7 from where he started running in the 7th position.
Nice.
And it's about to get messed up now because here comes Blaine Roque on the outside of Dominic Lopez.
Gosh darn you, Blaine Roca.
And Roque is going to get the position.
Never a dull moment with us on the booth.
Exactly. 75 of Doss on the outside as well. Sean Woodside.
Tonight's broadcast being brought to you in part by Cayuga County Tap Water. If you can't afford anything better to drink, Cayuga County Tap Water will do you just okay.
Woodside catching the wall a little bit there in the exit of turn 2. Didn't really hurt that machine too much. Walt Clough now starting to fall back. Dominic Lopez, just saying, up in 4th now, battling to keep 8th. As Corey Heim, who started on pole, has not led a single lap here today thus far. Running now in 10th.
Well, he has stopped the hemorrhaging. That's the good part. And now he's on the outside lane, so now he's got his teammate right behind him. And just as I say that, she throws it to the inside.
See how much Lopez is having to work. Look at the hands going through these corners. Just how much he's having to work and how much he's having to slow off just to keep from pushing up off of these corners. And that's part of the reason why right there you can see on the inside of turns 3 and 4, that's not flat into the grass. That's a curb that's there. And it does come to a point near that pit exit, which would 100% explain why the 17 had the issue he had.
Very much so, and that would explain why we saw a car pull a wheelie during the hot lap session.
Absolutely. As Tony Breedinger gets around the 24 of Lopez, so does Wayne Stokes in the 92. Andy Allen working his way up. Allen, the biggest mover of the race thus far, +14 from where he started. And we have, in the midst of all this excitement, we have had a pass for the lead as Mark Wirtz has jumped up into P1.
Wirtz had some strong runs as of late. He hasn't had the finishes to, be indicative of the runs that he's been having. And it's mostly been self-inflicted wounds on pit road. That, the team forgot to put a couple lug nuts on in week 1, and they got the fuel mileage wrong in week 2.
There's the pass for the race lead. Got up to that high line, and Griffith just could not handle it. And then off into the sunset went Mark Wirtz. He's already got 3/4 of a second on Derek Griffith. Trevor Huddleston just about a second behind Derek Griffith in the 12.
We all know what's going to happen as soon as they catch lap traffic.
Yep, and they're not that far away from it either, as Austin Herzog is the car at the back. Battling with Tanner Reif and Colby Howard. Derek Krause back there as well. Josh Berry in the 8.
Herzog and Reif are going after each other like two kids in the back of a minivan on summer vacation.
And it looks as though Austin Herzog, who, if memory serves correctly, is the elder of those two, is the winner.
Absolutely. The whole I'm not touching you, the I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you kind of deal.
At least for the moment, as there is Mark Wirtz, now pulled out to a second lead over the 12 of Griffith. By the way, Eddie McDonald back out on track in the number 17.
Looks like they had a spare upper control arm ready for that car. The question is, what's going to happen when we see green flag pit stops? How many more drivers are going to tag that curb trying to get onto pit road?
It only took them 4.5 minutes to put in.
All it is it's 2 bolts and 1 nut on the ball joint. Slip it off, slip it on, back out on track.
Would have been a perfect nickname if we had a third guy in the booth. 2 bolts and 1 nut.
Did I ever tell you how we named the company the first time we named it?
Yes, you have. As Cole Moore starting to work his way back up through the field, running in 14th right now, battling with the 6 of Jake Drew. Dominic Lopez in the 24 there as well. So is Ty Majeski in the 91. Carson Quapple there too. This is just inside.
Oy.
The top 20 is...
6 had to chase it down the track there coming off of 2.
Yeah, he did. And he's going to end up falling to the back of this line.
Because you definitely don't want to be on the low side, especially in 3 and 4.
You do not.
Yeah, it's going to stack up Ty Majeski right behind him.
Majeski. The inside line isn't that bad, but if you have that car on the outside of you, you're in trouble, as there goes the 35 of Carson Quapple.
You can't get the run off the corner.
And honestly, with the way the AI is programmed, they're not really allowing themselves to try to get that run off the corner. They're not pushing up. They're staying well clear of the car to their outside.
Except when they go 3 and 4 wide.
Very true. As Jake Drew falls back to 17th, as predicted, falls to the back of that group. Gio Scelzi in the 16 right there. Back up towards the front. Now it's Trevor Huddleston, who has found himself stuck on that bottom. And has that helpless feeling as Corey Heim puts himself in that position now.
Well, Heim's able to get to his outside. Almost looking to go 3 wide.
Yep, good push off the corner against Clough. Unfortunately for both of those guys, no contact made.
Another coat of paint, they would have been in trouble. But yeah, no, that was a good clean pass there. As Heim trying to get it figured out. Or Clough trying to get it figured out on the top side. And here we go.
Huddleston out there now. And once again, Corey Heim pinned on the bottom. He does have the clearance up to the outside line if he wants it. Going to look to take that inside line. Looks like the back end almost came out of that number 20 right there.
It's getting to that point where you're going to have to start being nice to your tires. Because these are those wide 5 lugs, it's not as quick a pit stop as you're going to see in a Truck Series race or a Cup Series race or an Xfinity Series race. It's so much harder because the lugs are they're less than an inch inside of the rim diameter. So you have to go that much further with the gun to get the lug nuts taken off and then put back on.
Riding on board with Tony Breedinger. Solid day thus far for Venturini, running 7th and 9th at the moment. A better day for one of their drivers as compared to the other. Breedinger +9. Will now make it +10 as she gets around John Moore.
The next car in her grasp is her teammate.
Oh, no, maybe not.
Not anymore.
Corey Heim has found that outside line. Heim now trying to recover from starting on the pole, falling just outside the top 10 at the start of this race. So Heim up to 6th. Tony Breedinger up to 8th for Venturini. And it has not been a good day on the other side of that for their for the McAnally team.
You're absolutely right. It's a day that they just as soon forget. Same thing goes for the Suncoast team.
Cole Moore running in 13th. Gio Scelzi 17th. And Derek Krause 20th for McAnally. And you're right, my goodness, Sunrise Ford having a mare of it tonight. 23rd and 25th. Everyone we pumped up during pre-race is running at the back.
Well, I mean, you expect a bad race here and there, but think about how we started the season. Tony Breedinger was the only driver to Woodside, was the only driver to put the car in the top 5 in all 3 opening events.
And then right when we said that, he finished about 15th at Myrtle Beach last week.
Right, so it's the announcer's curse.
Didn't think it would work on artificial intelligence.
Apparently it does.
It's a universal language, I guess. As Walt Clough looks to the outside of Jeremy Doss. Doss falling back. Clough trying to work his way back up. And Doss still holding that inside, but not that long. Inside line certainly has the advantage going into the corner, as you would expect, but on corner exit, it's quite the other way around.
Yeah, because you're not pinching the car off as much, you're not loading up the rear axle, and you're able to get the drive off the corner better on that second lane. I mean, if you can arc the corner like they're doing now running single file, all the better. You can get the advantage of both. But if you're racing side by side, the outside car is going to have the advantage all night long.
Gio Scelzi in the 16 trying to get around Ty Majeski in the 91. And he will get that pass done and completed. Now we'll set his sights on Carson Quapple in the 25. This is quite a fun track.
Are we about to see the first pass on the inside?
I don't know.
In front of Scelzi?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's Dominic Lopez. Boy, Majeski took that without much issue.
No, he did not.
It's Lopez trying to fight from Carson. He was trying to put a move on Stokes in the 92. But unfortunately, the attacker has become
the prey.
Yeah. He's become the stone in the river.
Oi!
Contact between the teammates there, Derek Krause and Gio Scelzi.
There was contact in front of him as well.
Krause on that high line. Making the pass not just on his teammate, but on the 24 as well.
I was going to say, Scelzi can get up there and follow Krause now. And it looks like that's exactly what he's planning on doing.
Once again, the outside line is where you want to be, as Corey Heim has found his way up to 4th, getting past Sean Woodside. And it's only going to get better for the outside line as we head to Sobo next week. South Boston, Virginia, as we continue our trek up the East Coast.
Oh, baby.
Boy, that was an entertaining pit entry for Sean Woodside.
Joey Chit would eat your heart out.
24 in, the 9 is in as well. The 20 and 45 make their stops. So we're going to see a couple of stops here in this race. 50 of Huddleston in. You can see they are clipping that little bit of curbing.
Yeah, but you've got to be real mindful when you do go in.
Yes, the 17.
Absolutely. Andy McDonald is definitely a prime example of what not to do, as he caught that curbing early. I dare say 55 is probably coming in this time.
Yep, here comes Wirtz. Griffith to follow. So does Roca. Timing and scoring, for whatever reason, has the 9 of Tanner Reif and the 24 of Dominic Lopez showing as out.
Really?
Not sure what would have caused that, and I think so is the 16 of Gio Selzy, as everybody is on pit road now except for, never mind, except for Carson Quaffle. Everybody on pit road right now, as here's Corey Heim running in 13th. He's about to pick up a nice little bunch of positions as everybody is on pit road around him as far as positions are concerned, and he's jumped up to the 5th spot. There is Wirtz.
It's saying Clough's out.
Clough out. Woodside
Oh, no.
out.
Wait a second. Those are the guys that caught air coming onto pit road.
Doesn't make sense.
They may have damaged something.
It doesn't make sense, though, because we saw McDonald snap the left front off the car, and still he was.
It said he was out. It said he was out until that car started rolling again.
So we'll see. We'll try to keep up with that. So right now, as of the moment, we just had 5 retirements on that set of pit stops. Corey Hyman, the 20, has worked his way, thanks to his pit strategy, has worked his way up to 2nd. Mark Wirtz has worked himself out to a 2.5 second lead in that 55. As this is a battle for 6th here between the 98, 92, and 99. High digit battle going on here. 75 joining the conversation as well.
I was going to say, those guys throw a blanket over them. And just like that, 99 gets caught on the low side, forget it. Bye.
Like I said, he's got that run on the inside. Let's go back and see what happened on pit entry with Tanner Reif, if I can find it, because he was the first one in, and he was in well before everybody. He was
well before Hyman Company came on, yeah. And he was still on pit road when they came down.
Well, Walt Clough is another out, so we'll take a look and see. We'll see Clough's entry here. Oh, that's entering the pit box. We've got to back that up a little bit more. Here we go. Here's him entering pit lane. Oh
yeah.
Yep, did the same exact thing that McDonald did.
And do we have
Who's another one?
The 9?
Trying to go through here. Gio Selzy is another one. See what he did. Carbon copy, yep.
Exact same thing. Well,
so
damn.
Ty Majeski is still on pit road. So is Colby Howard. Or Colby Howard was on pit road. Colby Howard was on pit road for 2 minutes. Huddleston was on for a buck 45. Sammy Smith was on pit road for 1:20. Eddie McDonald coming back in. You would think you would say, well, you'd learn don't come into pit road off of that extreme inside line, but it's AI. They're programmed to run certain lines, and if that's the line they're running,
yeah,
it's a fault in the programming.
Well, I mean, look at the bright side. If you're a fabricator, you're going to be a run on left front upper suspension arms.
And if you're Eddie McDonald, look at the upside for him as well, as he's still in pit road. Might have done the same exact thing.
Yeah, he did it again.
Say if you're Eddie McDonald, you just got a couple of free positions there.
And then just gave him right back.
Passing guys that are out of the race.
Oh, yeah, he did get by Lopez and Reif. You're right.
So Walt Clough, Sean Woodside. So we'll have a new points leader out of this race.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Woodside, Gio Scelzi, Dominic Lopez, and Tanner Reif all succumb to race-ending suspension failure via pit road entry. And you know what I think is the most dangerous part about that?
The fact that we're not even at halfway?
I was going to say, by math, we still have 2 more rounds of pit stops.
Yeah.
Next round of pit stops will be around 1:20, and then they're going to have to pit with 20 to go for fuel the rest of the way. So this will be a 3-stop race. We might end up with 11 or 12 cars running at the end of this thing.
Well, if that's what is going to happen, that's what's going to happen. But I just color me perplexed, the fact that, we saw it a couple times during the practice session. We saw it in the opening salvo of the race with McDonald. And, I mean, now we're up to, what, 6?
Yeah, Eddie McDonald out of pit road again after another 2-minute, 13-second repair on pit road for doing the same thing he did on the first stop. And the reason why that's happening is, think of a curb, like on the sidewalk, and the grass sticks out behind the curb.
That's exactly what they're hitting.
It comes to a corner, so it's not like you fall off of that onto pit road and just rip the skirt apart. You're coming to a point. You're coming to a corner.
Like you're coming up to a crosswalk.
Yeah, on the inside of that curbing, and it's just like it's like hitting a speed bump at 110.
No thanks. I don't want to taste my own spinal fluid.
Yeah, exactly. Derek Krause in the middle of a scrum. 81 of Colby Howard not for position in that mess. However, the 35 and the 99 are. So what turned out to be a bad day for McAnally. One of their cars are out, but the other 2 now were battling to try to stay in the top 20. Now they're battling to try to get into the top 10. One is, the other one's in 11th.
It just goes to show you that we're not going to know who's going to have a shot at winning this thing until the money stop.
Absolutely.
And even then, we might not know.
Carson Quapple currently has that 10th position. Not missing anything up at the front. I'll take that back. Blaine Roca to the outside of Tony Breedinger.
McDonald going with him.
Again, McDonald running in what is now...
Hey, contact.
Contact, and that puts McDonald into the fence. Right front down.
Right front down. Nothing. That broke the suspension arm on the right front. Oh, hang on to her.
Keep in mind, we have not seen a caution yet this season.
Word.
Oh, Oh, can he get down? No, he can't. He's going to have to go another lap.
Oi.
He's on the inside line now, and now we have a shot, and I'm not doing it.
It doesn't look like the tire's down.
No, it doesn't look.
It doesn't look like anything is broke.
That's quite intriguing for that 17, and up there he goes again.
Now it's broke. Good grief.
Boy, oh boy.
Pack it up and head back to Boston.
And to think that's the closest we've had to having a caution this season.
Well, that was definitely interesting. Let me say we relax a little bit, Frank, and pay a couple bills.
I think that would be a very wise idea. Right now, Mark Wirtz currently holds a 3.6 second lead over Corey Heim. Derek Griffith running in the third position. A wild first half of this race thus far from North Wilkesboro. We'll be back in just a moment. Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Well, oh, they're wrecking! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Well, oh, they're wrecking! Well, Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
We are back working lap 107 of 200 here from North Wilkesboro. Mark Wirtz currently holds a 4.5 second lead over Derek Griffith. During the break, we saw a group of cars come down pit road. Some of them survived, others didn't. Corey Heim, Parker Traves came in. They survived. Not Sammy Smith, pardon me. Josh Berry, Colby Howard, or not Colby Howard either. Josh Berry, Derek Krause, Austin Herzog, and Eddie McDonald did not. So we are down to 12 cars on the lead lap. Jake Drew is about to get lapped now, or not that far off in the distant future, is about to get lapped. And, yeah, that's where we stand right now.
You do realize there's a new meme coming for this track, right?
It's a tire breaker.
There is a nice-looking race car. It'd be a shame if somebody ripped the left front suspension off of it.
Exactly. Well, jump on board with Jake Drew here because he's the closest to the corner right now. Take a look at the left side of your screen right there. That little corner is what we're talking about, and that's the one that these guys are hitting coming onto pit road. You'll notice, very poignantly, that curbing is not there in turns 1 and 2. However, in turns 3 and 4, it is, and that is what's been causing a problem for these guys, as about 7 cars have succumbed to that curbing.
And it's a shame, too, because most of those cars had a good run going, too.
Absolutely. Tony Breedinger.
Lopez hit it, and he was running 5th at the time.
He was running towards the top. We're not that far away from the guys who did not come into pit during the break. We're not that far away from coming into pit again, so we'll hopefully not have another wave of cars come down pit road. Eddie McDonald on his way out. Now, we saw him hit the wall coming out of turn 4 earlier on. Had to do a couple of laps with a broken right front suspension. Then we saw how he came into pit road, breaking the left front. He was down pit road that time for 7.5 minutes. Now, my total race time here is 36 minutes and 5 seconds from the green flag to this point right now. Eddie McDonald has been in pit road for around 14 minutes of the 36 minutes that we've completed in this race.
Impressive.
And is still out on the racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Dosh trying to defend from Carson Quapple. Both of these guys with their best runs of the season to date, as Quapple looks to the outside. 35 of Quapple will take the position.
Looks like Krause is back out on track.
Yes, he is in that 19. Krause currently running in the 17th position right now. Good 8 laps down. Jake
Still plenty of time to make that up.
Jake Drew getting passed by Corey Heim. Now that is for position. Drew has been lapped. Corey Heim, we saw him come down pit road during the break. So those two 1 lap down on the same lap. So Heim back up to 12th.
You know, but for how much longer? Because he keeps going back to that inside lane through the corners.
You know what? I take that back. Heim has gotten his lap back the old-fashioned way.
Drew being scored as the last car on the lead lap right now, yeah.
Yes.
But not for long.
No. So drivers who are for position right now. The 19 and the 81 are for position with each other. That would be for 17th. There is Krause, and 2.5 seconds behind Krause is the 81 of Colby Howard. Both of these guys have had left front suspension issues from entering pit road. Austin Maynard battling with Andy Allen. Allen is for position for that 29. Allen plus 15, Maynard plus 14 on the race from where he started. McDonald trying to get some time back.
And a lot of these guys that have broken suspension arms have already decided, screw it, we're just going to pack it up and move to South Boston.
Drivers who are done: Tanner Reif, Dominic Lopez, Gio Scelzi, Sean Woodside, Walt Clough, and Austin Herzog are done. Oh, McDonald throws it in.
Jeepers.
Wow. And that's a lead lap car on the outside of it in the 29 of Maynard. Look at how close the 17 and 50 just got.
Well, the 50,
Boy,
there we
watch
contact.
out on the other end of it.
ZFG.
And because of the better tires, it's McDonald on the inside that gets the advantage.
I think that's the first inside pass we've seen stick tonight.
It took about 40 lap fresher tires for it to happen. So it looks like we've been bamboozled a little bit because the pit strategy did seem to be a little bit off. These guys at the front should have come into pit by now if they were being honest as far as the first stint is concerned. And they are pretty well out right now. Mark Wirtz has a 2-second lead over Derek Griffith. That gap has really come down as Griffith has been flying. Mark Wirtz has by far and away led the most laps in this race and continues to do so, which does not bode well for him because, as we had mentioned before, only once at the season opener at Las Vegas has the guy who has led the most laps actually went on to win the race.
You are correct. And there you go. Wirtz is in.
So these guys should be good to go the rest of the way. Emphasis on should. We'll see how many more guys end their night as the 27 has just ended his. You saw that right there. So John Moore in the 27 done. Couldn't possibly imagine what he did to do that, but hey.
Clueless.
Looking at Parker Traves right now. Traves running in second. Corey Heim, your current race leader. Now Heim and Traves are not on the same pit strategy as a Mark Wirtz, who Wirtz is about to catch and pass Parker Traves in the not-so-distant future. Well, let's see it again. John Moore.
Looks like the 29 of Maynard's out too.
This is from on board of John Moore. Here he comes into pit road.
Bonk.
Catches that corner.
Yeah, you can see just how listing that car is.
I was going to say, you can see that notable sag in the left front of that car. And that is goodbye birdie.
Unreal.
Mark Wirtz has gotten around Parker Traves, so put Wirtz back in second. Now he's got to fight to gain 8.5 seconds back on Corey Heim, who is under some considerable pressure from Jeremy Doss, who's trying to get a lap back. and will do successfully. Dawson Quapple, fresh out of pit road. Tony Breedinger as well, fresh out of pit road in the 25. She'll go around the outside as well.
You see your teammate didn't give up too much of a struggle there.
No, it didn't appear.
But how about Jake Drew up to 12th?
Yep, Drew right at the back of that lead lap. 12 of Derek Griffith in third now. He's just gotten past Parker Traves. Other end of the racetrack still Dawson Quapple battling for position.
Those two have been after each other since the green flag flew.
They have been. And again, Tony Breedinger not that far off. 0.3 of a second. Or 0.75 of a second, my bad.
Up 4 car length separation.
Sure, we'll go with that. Biggest mover of the race for the moment is that 60 plus 21, but again, expecting him to come into pit again at some point. He came in on lap 95. Corey Heim, the current race leader, came in on lap 94.
And he took fuel only when he did that, too.
Yes, he did. And Wirtz, we had said it was an 8.5 second gap. It is now a 5 second gap between the 20 and the 55. Corey
I
Heim
think that's the
looking to
first
get a lap
driver.
back.
I was going to say, I think that's the first time we've seen a driver pass the 20 on the inside.
Colby Howard running in 17th. Ty Majeski jumps up another spot.
Is he coming in this time?
Yep, Corey
Yes,
Heim
he is.
in. Watch for the 60 of Traves. No real excuse to clout that curb now, and they don't. Well, Traves didn't come in. So that will once again hand the lead of the race over to the 55 of Mark Wirtz. Leave Derek Griffith running in second. Now Griffith has been quicker, quite a bit quicker than that 55. Take a look at the lap time history between those two. And Griffith has been quick. Wow, that was close with Ty Majeski.
I think we almost just saw our first caution of the season.
That right there. Green time for Wirtz means Green was quicker. Red time for Wirtz means that Griffith was quicker. As here's Corey Heim putting a pretty sizable amount of pressure on Griffith. Heim running in 11th. So Jake Drew, who's right in front of Griffith, is for position for Corey Heim, and he shouldn't take that long for him to get there.
Not at all. The question is, what's he going to do with him once he gets to him? Because we've seen Heim prefer that low side, but it hasn't paid dividends at all here tonight.
Really has not for him. As take a look at Wayne Stokes, caught in the middle between Cole Moore in the 99 and Andy Allen in the 22. Stokes has had a very quiet night, plus 12 from where he started. Very quiet but solid night for the 92 after finishing 26th and 27th in the opening rounds of the season, starting to work his way back up.
Starting to turn that season around. Didn't he set pole at the bull ring?
No, he did not. That was Huddleston. I think it was
That's
on
right.
the outside of the front row, though,
That's what it was, yeah.
if memory serves correctly.
Yeah, and they were another one of the teams that got the fuel strategy all wrong at the first two races.
They were actually a retirement at USA.
Yes.
Speaking of retirements, we have 19 cars running on track right now. John Moore, Austin Maynard, Austin Herzog, Walt Clough, Sean Woodside, Gio Scelzi, Dominic Lopez, and Tanner Reif. All out with issues on pit road entry. As the battle for fourth is getting quite close now. Jeremy Doss, Carson Quapple, and Tony Breedinger battling away, or at least preparing to battle away, sizing each other up, I would say.
Sure. Breedinger under pressure from the high side. She's going to have to just let him go and file in.
It's Parker Traves. Now, Traves came in about 9 laps ago, which is why he has the pace in that 60. Traves, I had said he was the winner at Lanier. He was actually the winner at USA. And now him getting around Carson Quapple has opened the door for Tony Breedinger to try to get around the outside, and she will. Tony Breedinger up to 5th.
Looks like Quapple had to chase it down the track there coming off of 2.
And Breedinger up into the top 5.
Nice run out of the team tonight so far.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, the battle between her and Quapple have pushed the pair off of Jeremy Doss, who's just gotten passed by the 60 of Traves and unable to counter.
Unfortunately, no. That's what fresh tires looks like. But they're starting to reel him in.
They've gotten single filed out. Breedinger, 1/10 of a second quicker that last lap. Pulled a 1/2 a second on Doss, and that was the lap that he was getting passed by Traves, so a little misleading. That lap just a touch slower. 300.
I was going to say, it looks like Doss has found his pace again.
0.03 of a second doesn't seem like a lot, but that adds up. Jeremy Doss.
An eternity. Right on a track like this, that's an eternity.
Jeremy Doss right now, the fastest car on track at the moment. See what he does this time. Breedinger a little bit quicker, 1/100 of a second quicker. Breedinger fastest car on track. The 3 fastest cars on track are in this group right now. Mark Wirtz is a couple hundredths off of this trio. But the fastest laps are coming out of this group. Breedinger again fastest of all, with Quapple just behind.
That goes to go back to what we've been talking about all season long, that anybody can show flashes of brilliance at any given moment.
Absolutely. Riding off the back of Jeremy Doss, looking back at his 2 combatants. His 2 immediate combatants. Now this group of 3 have broken away to the tune of 5 seconds. Then you go back to this group, which is Cole Moore, Wayne Stokes in the middle, and Corey Heim. Now Heim has quite a considerable tire advantage over this group here, and Heim will start to fly yet again. And Corey, wow!
Oh.
Moore really hit that curbing hard.
And Stokes just annihilated his front bumper.
That was the hardest we've seen anyone hit that curb.
Well, go back and take a look at what Stokes did when that happened.
Oh, well, we will jump on board with him. And yep, immediately, Cole Moore done.
Broken rear end.
As you can imagine. This is on board of Wayne. Oh, wow, Stokes did miss him.
Oh, wow, it looked like he hit him.
He missed him, boy, but man, that was a hard hit. That was the hardest one. Again, that's the hardest one we've seen.
very
here
much
today.
so. And, it's so late in the race that, yeah, okay, that's what it was. I thought when he went completely sideways, Stokes had hit him after popping the curb.
Cars are coming in again. Wayne Stokes, I think, is done now. Yes, he is. He caught the curb, too. Well, we didn't think North Wilkesboro would turn into a test of attrition. Jeremy Doss in for a 1-second splash. Blaine Roca coming in. Carson Quapple in for a 1-second splash as well. It's the awkward herky-jerkiness of the AI entering the pit box. Try to see what... I mean, we know what happened with Stokes. It's just trying to come in off that near side, and boy, he hit that even harder than the 92 of the 99.
Anything you can do, I can do better. Not that I want to.
There's Derek Krause sitting there with damage repair for doing the same exact thing. Or no, I think Krause is on track. Never mind. So your new top 5 are the only ones on the lead lap. Mark Wirtz, your race leader, by 2.5 seconds over Derek Griffith. Griffith by 6.5 seconds over Tony Breedinger, who sits third. Corey Heim fourth. And Andy Allen en route for his best finish of the season, up 21 from where he started, running in fifth.
Well, Frank, that just goes to show you what I've always said whenever I've tried to help you work on a setup for an open race. I may not give you the fastest horse in the barn, but I'm going to give you a workhorse that's going to be chugging at the end of the day.
That's exactly what Andy Allen has done and has had. He has been just chugging along in that 22 today, and if he doesn't have to come back down pit road again, a solid top 5 finish will do wonders for his championship hopes, as these two, the 75 and 35, just once again continue to not want to be around each other, as Eddie McDonald has
again.
Well, he had a full-blown off for a second. We'll see what happened with McDonald. He's coming out of 2. What in the world? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What in the wide, wide world of sports?
That was interesting.
iRacing AI doing some intriguing things. Now we are just into week 1 of the 3rd season of 2022, and there were AI updates, including adding Stafford to the AI compatibility list, which was not entertaining by any means.
No.
Love to have had. That was one of the tracks we mentioned that we wish we had, but we couldn't.
Yeah.
Irwindale being another.
Yeah.
That one's still not AI compatible.
No, but Stafford is, and that kind of makes me happy. Now, if they could just make the pavement modifieds AI compatible, I'd be a real happy camper.
20 laps to go. And Derek Griffith has closed the lead down to just inside of a second. And the reason why the lead came down is because of what you see in front of Griffith right now. Wirtz had a lot of trouble getting through these 3, and now Griffith is going to have to do the same.
Griffith's had good speed all night, though.
Yep, he has.
And he started outside row number 1, got a nice initial start, let a couple of laps to open this thing. This might be the momentum changer that team needs to turn their season around.
Now Griffith has the fastest lap of the race, the only driver to go sub 17.6 on the race, at 17.75, or 17.57 rather. Time bracket you're seeing these guys run in right now is the 18-second bracket, so they've fallen off about a second from what they were. As Griffith, with 16 laps to go, still hunting down Wirtz, who's not getting away.
Especially with the battling that's going on right in front of him. It's very surprising that Griffith is able to maintain pace.
McDonald getting out of the way, at least for the moment. Now Griffith is going to be held up a little bit by the battling. 2/10 slower that lap, but it would have been because of the 17 being where he was.
Yeah, that wasn't anywhere near as drastic as it could have been.
Absolutely. Wirtz has open racetrack in front of him, at least for the moment, as Andy Allen trying to put another lap on Sammy Smith in the 51. Now Smith will finish, at least for the moment, in the 10th position. He is the only one on his current lap. So a nice solid top 10 finish for the 51 here tonight.
That team has had some struggles early on this season.
Yes, they have. Jeremy Doss trying to defend from Parker Traves, but Traves with the fresher tires will get by, and now Doss and Quapple will be together again. It's a battle for 7th.
Actually, that was a battle with Traves.
Yeah, Traves got 7th, and now Quapple gets around Doss, at least for the moment. No, maybe not. This is a battle for 8th between these two. Traves and Doss was for 7th.
You guys are still not giving it up.
Absolutely not.
And that's what North Wilkesboro Racing's all about. You cannot give up.
No, you certainly cannot. With the saga of Eddie McDonald today, Eddie has topped out. He cannot get any higher than 19th. With 8 laps to go, he is not going to be close enough on laps to pass Cole Moore for position, so he is topped out in 19th. However, Derek Griffith may not have topped out because that lead is now down to 3/4 of a second. The 55 has lap traffic in front of him, and we have 5.5 laps to go.
This is where it's going to get interesting. Is Andy Allen working on the 51 right now? He's got to be careful because that is the leader behind him, and nobody wants to be that guy.
These two are being those guys right now, as the 51 has held up the 55 considerably here, gap down to 0.4 of a second. Another battle for the win on tap. 4 to go.
Could lightning strike twice in as many weeks? We're about to find out.
Oh, Sammy Smith
there it goes.
Up in the worst spot.
Game over.
Well, maybe not.
3 laps to go this time by. If the 12 is going to make anything happen, he's got to make it happen quick.
Yeah, he's got to start pushing the issue here. Smith gets out of the way, but we know this is going to take a minute to sort itself out. 0.6 of a second now, the gap.
Popsicle sticks in the air, 2 to go.
Yep, here we go. Show the live delta as it sits. See how much Wirtz gained there just from the 55 coming up in between those two. White flag in the air here from North Wilkesboro. Mark Wirtz has run an incredible race thus far. He has led by far and away the most laps. And for the first time this season, Mark Wirtz will come through turns 3 and 4. He will win here at North Wilkesboro. And with any more laps to go, Griffith would have made it a fight.
I think if the lap cars had played a little more kindly, we'd be talking about a completely different finish.
I think so. And Wirtz, who made the pass on Griffith to take the lead away back in the early stages of this race, had just enough time to hold him off.
We'll see how many more drivers break the left front suspension off, trying to get back onto pit road.
This is about it now. Corey Heim recovers to finish 5th. Going slow enough now. I think they're all, hey, McDonald got on pit road without killing it. What a race here from North Wilkesboro, Tony. What? Just so much to discuss. The longest race of the year, of one of 3 200-lap races we're going to do this year. And it had a couple of surprises up its sleeve.
It absolutely did. And, it's something we've come to expect out of this series. This is our 5th race into the series.
Mm-hmm.
And in the previous 4 races, we've seen a lot of side-by-side action. We've seen lap cars play a big role in wins and losses this season, both ways. And this is what we've come to expect out of this series, because you have such a stacked field. This is basically like an IROC race now that IROC's no longer around.
Yep, and it's not to mention just a stacked field as far as names go, but also they are at the ceiling of what the iRacing AI difficulty can be. So these guys there's no competition difference between these guys, and wouldn't you know, through the first 5 races of the season, we have 5 different winners. We'll go to the results now here for today's race. Mark Wirtz takes his first victory of the season. Derek Griffith, Tony Breedinger, your top 3. Andy Allen, Corey Heim, a great day for Venturini Motorsports, rounding out the top 5 positions. Jake Drew, we saw he was in last place, on the verge of getting lapped before the first round of pit stops. He is the first car to finish 1 lap down in 6th. Parker Traves, Jeremy Doss, Carson Quapple, and Sammy Smith round out the top 10. Trevor Huddleston, Derek Krause, Colby Howard, Josh Berry, and Ty Majeski round out the drivers that actually finished this race.
Lane Roca, Wayne Stokes, Cole Moore, Eddie McDonald, John Moore, Austin Maynard, Austin Herzog, Walt Clough, Sean Woodside, Gio Selzy, Dominic Lopez, and Tanner Reif, all suffering suspension damage at the hands of the Pit Ian Curb.
Now, pit entry will not be as tricky next week as it was this week, because we continue our way up the eastern seaboard. We head to South Boston, Virginia, and we'll head to Sobo Speedway next time out here on ESPN. For my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you so much for joining us for the Super Late Model AI series. Have a fantastic evening, everybody.